Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cruise News Live on June 1st in the year of our Lord 2025. Today is a pretty special day. There's a lot going on in the cruise world. You know, it is a Monday. It's we just had a weekend. We are going into summer. Cruising is hot right now, literally and figuratively. It's hot outside. There's just heat all around the cruise subject, and let's start talking about this. So, as you can see on these lives, I'm kind of showing you guys the raw Embrace Today studio here. This is my fancy studio, right? Pretty basic is what we work with over here at Embrace Today, but we make the most out of it, and we have a blast bringing you guys cruise content. So make sure to check out more than just our live. If this is your first time here, go to our channel, check it out. We've got a ton of great cruise content, and we'd love to share it with you, obviously. All right, so yeah, the cruise news is pretty wild. We have a couple of stories about cruise lines getting into some... I finally caught a live stream. Oh my gosh, Thomas, I am so glad you caught it. That's great. I need to get better at scheduling live streams and like getting the word out that we're going to be having them. You know, you learn as you go, but the bottom line is you just got to start doing it, right? So, Thomas, welcome aboard, man, and I'm glad you're here. So yeah, let's get into the live stream here. So we have two cruise ships that broke away from their mooring lines. And, you know, that it doesn't happen that often, but it happens somewhat often. And in particular, it has happened often recently. There was a Princess ship, and I think might have been another Norwegian ship where it happened all within the last several months. So you don't hear about it that often. I mean, it takes a lot. And as we'll talk about in a couple of minutes here, the Norwegian cruise line, it was described by a passenger, and he's talking about the mooring lines. I'm sure you guys have all been on a cruise, right? You're here for cruise content. The mooring lines are like this big. They're enormous lines. I don't know, what are they made from, like rope, or are they made from like a steel mesh? I mean, I'm not sure what they're made from, but whatever they are, they're strong. Obviously, cruise ships are enormous and have an enormous amount of weight behind them, and have to hold this. They have to hold the ship in place to the port, to the dock. So on the dock, there are these cement structures with rings on them that they tie the ropes to. And this guy that was on the Epic is describing how these cement blocks are popping off, and because there's tension on the line, they're flying onto the cruise ship. It's like, holy crap, that must have sounded like World War III when that was happening. And those winds must have been really strong, because these are giant concrete things holding the ship. And I mean, they were made to withstand a lot of weight. So yeah, wild. So anyway, and this is just the introduction. Those two ships pulled away from mooring lines. We also have a couple stories from Carnival Cruise Line. As usual, Carnival Cruise Line, they're interesting to me, so I share a lot about Carnival. I love Carnival Cruise Line, and they're really good at like kind of making interesting news. Add effects using hand gestures. Sorry, I just got distracted by something on my computer screen. That is what live is all about. We're doing it live. And yeah, so Carnival Cruise Line this time around has John. Do you guys know brand ambassador John Heald? The man himself is giving romance advice. Didn't see that coming, did you? It's interesting. It's good. It's pretty good advice. We'll talk about that in a minute here. Carnival also is doing a pretty mediocre job of trying to get people to follow the rules, at least in my opinion, and we will talk about that in a little bit here. And I'm going to get rid of that. Yeah, so that will get us... Oh, and there's one other story I wanted to mention, and maybe I will just get it out of the way to begin with. If you guys are here, you probably are somewhat into the cruise news, and you might remember that not that long ago, I think, I don't know, within 6 months, the band Faster Pussycat Do you guys remember Faster Pussycat? They were on an 80s themed. Faster Pussycat is an 80s kind of like punk rock or heavy metal, I don't know, punk band. And they were mildly famous enough that they're touring on cruise ships on 80s themed cruises. And tragedy really happened. The lead singer's name of Faster Pussycat is Tame Down. Don't think that's the name he was born with, but a clever one, Tame Down. And his fiancée of 9 years fell overboard. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. And when that happened, there was a lot of speculation about it. Information came out somewhat slowly, but over the course of days, we found out the Tame definitely didn't have anything to do with it. Cameras proved it. There was definite proof that Tame had nothing to do with it. Although apparently there was arguments or fights going on between him and his fiancée shortly before this happened. Arguments and fights happen, and people don't go overboard, so it's just part of life. But he had nothing to do with her actually going overboard, and he, like I say, this is months ago, and he hasn't really said anything about it. There hasn't been any stories or updates from his perspective since finding out that he didn't have anything to do with it. But he did go on recently, within the last couple of days, went on a podcast or a radio show and talked a little bit about it. He kind of said that he didn't want to get into the super details of exactly what happened to it because he feels that that's disrespectful, and I kind of get that. But he did say that the reason that he feels that she went overboard is because she was mixing alcohol and prescription pills. And she just apparently couldn't, maybe that created a mental instability, some kind of instability, and she made a really bad decision. The cruise ship stopped and turned around and looked for her after it was found that she went overboard, and they just couldn't find her. And so she passed away, and Tame Down is distraught. It sounds like he's like, I'm just taking it one day at a time, and I can only imagine, man, it's terrible. So my heart goes out to him, all the people involved, obviously, terrible thing, but interesting update anyway, and interesting to hear from his perspective, although sad news. So we will move on to different things. So let's talk a little bit about the mooring lines that broke on these cruise ships. So the MSC Seascape. I have a place in my heart for the MSC Seascape. I spent some time on it, and it's a good ship. It's a fun ship. It's MSC gets a little bit of a bad rap, kind of like Carnival sometimes for different reasons, I guess. But MSC, I think, gets more of a bad rap than Carnival. What do you guys think? Do you guys think, you see all this social media, these YouTube videos and things like that saying, I went on the worst cruise line, MSC. And it's like, I don't know. Are they the worst cruise line? I don't know. Who do you think is the worst cruise line? I mean, maybe, but I had a good time on my MSC cruise. People had talked about how the food's really bad, and I actually thought the food was pretty good on MSC. It wasn't spectacular, and I will say, if there's a couple of things I can say that weren't great about MSC. One is, it really seemed like they were packing more people into the same amount of space as other cruise ships, and so it seemed more crowded. The pool seemed more crowded, the restaurants seemed more crowded, everything seemed a little bit more crowded on the MSC cruise, which isn't ideal. You want to have a little bit of space to yourself, but the price was good, so you gotta weigh your options. MSC's not all bad, and like I say, the food wasn't too bad, so I disagree with anybody that says that MSC's food is bad. In particular, their buffets. And we went. My wife and I went to main dining, I think, almost every night of that cruise, and I know that there were a few meals at main dining that we. I think I literally had to send one back, which I don't usually do. I'm not that picky, but in general, they were pretty good, except for a couple. And the buffet though, the breakfast and lunch buffets were better than, I would say, Carnival or maybe even Royal Caribbean. I don't know. They had a really good selection. It kind of has more like a European feel to it, and it has some different options that I really liked. They also have donuts, and who does not like donuts? Carnival does not have the Carnival has these not very good pastries that are, anyway. Donuts. You had to, in order to get the donuts on MSC, and I'll shut up about this in a second here, but in order to get the donuts on MSC, you had to go to the kids. They had a separate buffet for kids only, and they had the donuts in there, and so you had to. There was a lady there that you'd come up and you'd sheepishly try to get a donut on your plate, and she'd say, "This is for kids only." And you'd have to be like, I just want a donut. And kids. And you'd have to like kind of talk her into letting you take one. Can I just have one? Can I please just have one? I know for a fact that there were some other people that didn't have kids that were like, yeah, I'm just bringing it over to my kid. So you find your ways. You find your ways to get the donuts in the kids buffet on MSC. You got to get clever. Anyway. So this MSC ship broke away from its mooring lines, and I'll talk to you a little bit about that here. In fact, I'm going to go to this view, which I should have done a long time ago, and I can show you guys what I'm looking at here on the computer. Actually, I'm going to go like this. And bear with me for a second here, guys. I'm having some slight technical difficulties. And I just need to make a quick change here. We're going to go to Window. Blam. All right. So now, nope, don't want to do that. Do want to do this. And here we go. So you guys can see some pictures here from this cruise news story. Sorry about that technical difficulty. It got past me when I was setting. You got to see a little bit of behind the scenes of how this all works. It's pretty interesting. I'm just learning about it myself. MSC Seascape suddenly breaks mooring lines at Private Island. Here are a couple of photographs on the web page. Pretty crazy. Strong winds. Stormy weather rolled in during MSC Seascape's visit to their exclusive destination on Saturday. High winds causing the 170,000 gross ton vessel to break free from its moorings. Like I say, that's wild, right? Let's see, we have a couple of quotes here. Wicked storm blew into Ocean Cay. Gangway in the ocean, snapped ropes and station, keeping off the pier. All good and some grade A pool entertainment. I don't know what they mean by the pool entertainment. Let's see. There could have been a delay with the ship leaving, of course. That's pretty obvious. So yeah, wild, right? So the ship actually breaks the mooring lines, and what's crazier, and the gangway actually, the bridge between the ship and the port actually fall into the ocean. What's even crazier is that a couple of days later, moving on to story number 2, the gangway falls on the Norwegian Epic, and this time there's a passenger on it. This is crazy, right? So the same thing happened. The mooring lines broke. This is the story that I was talking about in the beginning, where, here, I'm going to read you this quote from this gentleman that said, one by one, the concrete nubs in the ground that hold the ropes were pulling out of the ground and went flying into the ship. That's crazy. Those must have been some crazy winds. So yeah, the concrete nubs that hold the mooring ropes were snapping, which is crazy. And because there's tension on the ropes, they're flying into the ship. And a lady was on the gangway just going to port, wanted to go hang out. This happened in Italy. And so she's walking across the bridge, the gangway. We've all done it. And it just collapses. It just falls out from underneath her. She falls into the water in between the ship and the frickin' pier. mean, imagine being that close to the cruise ship. That would be scary. Cruise ships are so massive. It's just kind of scary, like being in the water right there. Where do you go? There's nowhere to swim. I mean, I guess you swim towards shore, but I don't know what this pier in particular looked like, but a lot of piers are really, you can't just swim up and get out. So it must have just been absolutely terrifying. I mean, I can't even imagine. Just imagine yourself on a gangway, and all of a sudden the ground, you're falling into the ocean. It just, you don't think that's ever going to happen. And it happened on the Norwegian Epic. This woman, there's no comment from her yet. I wonder if we will get her point of view on this ever, because I'm sure it's a crazy story. But to their credit, Norwegian Epic's crew, presumably, I know they rescued her. I presume they jumped into the water and got her to safety one way or another, and made sure that she was okay. And then they took her to a local hospital and made sure that she didn't have any bad injuries or anything. And it is just said that she only has minor injuries, so maybe bruising, cuts, scrapes, think that kind of a thing. So she got away with it pretty... it could have gone a lot worse. And I don't know the age of the woman that fell into the water, but imagine if it was a woman in her 80s. I don't think it would have gone as well. Imagine if it was an older man. I mean, I just or a person in a wheelchair, or there's so many. I mean, thank God it was somebody that was able to be rescued. It could have gone a lot worse, and I'm grateful that it didn't. Crazy story, though. I just imagine that happening, and it's just a little bit terrifying, honestly. The momentum caused concrete mooring post to break free from the dock and the gangway connecting the ship to the pier, causing a woman to fall into the water. Just wild. You don't think these things are going to happen. I've walked over so many cruise bridges, and I just trust them. I just trust that everything's going to be okay. And really, if you think about it, like the odds of being that one lady that fell in is pretty wild. So anyway, crazy story from the Norwegian Epic, and good stuff. Thank God everybody's okay, and heart goes out to this woman. I wonder if she'll ever get on a cruise ship again. I mean, that's got to be like a little bit. It's got to stick with you a little bit, right? Okay, let's go over to the next story, which is Carnival Cruise reminds guests of shipboard rules as the summer season begins. Yeah, so Carnival wants their guests to follow the rules. And so they all got together in a meeting room, and they're like, how do we get these people to actually follow the rules? And apparently, and I'm speculating on this, but apparently somebody must have popped up and said, you know what? Let's just write them a really nice letter. Let's just, let's write a letter to the rule breakers that's like, will you please follow the rules? And I bet that'll work. I'm sure that's what they were thinking. That's about as clever as the mascot Ducky the Duck. I'm not a fan of the mascot Ducky the Duck. Whoever named Ducky the Duck probably, I'm not going to say they should lose their job, but they shouldn't be in marketing. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. Maybe you love the name Ducky the Duck. I don't. So hey, if you guys have any comments or criticisms or words of wisdom or anything else that you'd like to tell me, feel free to put it in the chat. Also, I'm new at live streaming, so if the audio is bad or if the video is bad or anything else, let me know so that I can fix it. But moving on, so Carnival Cruise Line decided to hand out these mildly worded letters to the people coming on the cruise ship as they're embarking onto their cruise that tell them, and it's titled, "Have fun, be safe." So right off the bat, they're really cracking down on those rule breakers. Maybe if they titled it, "If you break the rules, you're going to get kicked off the ship," then maybe they would get some results. I don't think they're going to get any results doing it this way myself, but they shared a letter with the passengers. They reminded them that curfew that requires guests 17 and under to be out of public areas by 1 a.m. unless they're with an adult over 21. I personally like this rule. Do you guys like that? Teenagers can't be out running around on the cruise ship after 1 a.m. I think they could even make it, like midnight, and that would be cool. Carnival states that the curfew will be strictly enforced. So there you go. That's a mildly worded letter for you. Guests are also asked to keep the noise to a minimum in guest corridors. That includes refraining from running or shouting in the hallways, as this may disturb others in their stateroom. Yeah, they're never going to get anybody to not do that. That is part of cruising, especially on Carnival, in my experience. In particular, on Carnival cruises that have a lot of kids, or Carnival cruises that leave from Miami that are kind of booze cruises, there's going to be a lot of noise in the hallways, whether you like it or not. For safety reasons, the cruise line also this one, check this out. This is news to me, and I talk a lot about cruising. I talk a lot about things that get banned on cruise ships and stuff like that, and I didn't know this. They banned handheld fans on dance floors and in nightclubs, along with any beverages. So you can't be holding a beverage or a personal fan when you're dancing in the clubs or on any dance floor. I was talking about this with another person, and they said that they think it's because of a popular trending song where the trending dance involved a fan or something like that, and that was their speculation as to why. I want to know the story why you can't have a personal fan while you're dancing. It gets hot on the nightclub floor, right? Why can't you have a fan out there? Did somebody get attacked with a fan? I want to know the story as to why they specifically banned handheld fans on the nightclub floors. Interesting. You learn something every day. Public spaces require earphones when listening to personal devices. Yes, I'd like to get a t-shirt that says personal spaces require earphones when listening to personal devices. There's been so many times when people will, here's a hot take, guys, and maybe you guys are going to disagree with me, but one of my things is not only when people watch a TV show or listen to their band or listen to the music when they're out in public and they just turn the volume up on their phone and everybody has to listen to it. That is the rudest thing you can do, or one of the rudest things you can do. And it's a pet peeve of mine. I really, really don't like it. So yeah. Thank goodness that they said that. Get some earbuds and don't make the rest of us listen to your... I need to be careful what I say sometimes. Make sure you don't listen to your music without earbuds. The right thing to do is just get some earbuds and do it the right way. Let's see here. Oh, also, Bluetooth portable speakers are banned from the private islands and from your cruise ship room. Once again, I am totally in support of this ban. I have been in a situation where I had to listen to somebody else's music my entire cruise when I was in my space. My wife and I in our space in our cruise cabin. The people next to us were blasting their music that I didn't like, and I had to listen to it the whole time because they apparently didn't care. They cared more about themselves and didn't really think about their neighbors. So anyway, there's that. I don't mean to gripe too much, but I'm totally into those bans. I think it's sad that people need to. I think it's sad those bans need to happen. That people weren't brought up in a way that they know not to infringe on the experience of people around you. So yeah. Carnival Cruise Line also reiterated its zero tolerance policy on illegal narcotics, including marijuana and its derivatives. No marijuana on Carnival Cruise. Now, I don't think this is going to work. I think here's what's crazy. Carnival Cruise Line really has tried to cut down on the marijuana because they got, except for once, recently, every time I get on a Carnival cruise, which has been fairly often, there's a dog as you go right before you go through the security system. There dogs come, you have to put your bag down, and the dogs sniff your bag, and presumably there's dogs sniffing the suitcases as you get before you get on, or before they deliver them to your room. And so yeah, I thought that would work, but I don't know, maybe the dogs aren't sniffing for marijuana, because maybe they're bomb sniffing dogs or something like that, because there's a lot of marijuana on those cruise ships. I walk down the halls and it smells a lot like weed. It smells, the ganja is being smoked. The ganja is being smoked on the Carnival ships, regardless of the efforts they put in. So either people are just really good at sneaking it on. I mean, I know there's people, when somebody really wants something to get something on, whether it's sneaking alcohol onto a ship. We just had a story recently, I think yesterday or the day before, about a lady that that used a tampon flask. Words I never thought I would use together. She snuck in some alcohol in her tampon flask, and she was super proud of it. Bragged about it on social media. Then got booted off of Carnival for life. Was it worth it, lady? No, it wasn't worth it. So yeah, when people are determined enough, they're gonna get on what they want to get on, and then we end up all smelling the weed. Whatever. I'm still gonna cruise on Carnival. It's all good. I don't need to worry about it because I don't sneak weed onto the ship. Let's see here. Additionally, Carnival also emphasized that smoking, including vaping, is only allowed in designated areas. Smoking in cabins or on balconies is banned and could result in fines or removal from the ship. I believe it's a $500 fine. You know that I am not a young, free-spirited partier anymore, because I totally support all these bans. I don't think there's any of them that I disagree with, actually. The cigarette on the balcony thing. Once again, I used to be a cigarette smoker. I know that you want that cigarette. You don't want to have to walk halfway across the ship to have your cigarette. You want to have it when you want to have it, especially in your cruise room when you're relaxing. But if you have a balcony and you're next to a person, even a few down from a person that's a smoker, they're smoking on the balcony, which happens all the time, whether or not they threaten the fines. It really sucks. I mean, being a non-smoker, it's like you're smoking right next to me and it's going straight in my nose. It's really irritating. I do understand from your perspective as a smoker that you are like, I smoke. Let me smoke on my balcony. It's outside. So I do get the argument. I will say, though, it does disrupt other people that are near you. So, they made the rule, and so, don't smoke on your balcony. That's all I'm saying. Let's see here. Additionally, a reimbursement cost for damages or destroyed Carnival property will be posted on the guest sign and sale accounts. Yeah, so if you ruin something for whatever reason, or if you're throwing furniture off the ship, you might end up with a big bill on your sale and sign card. Any guest who violates these policies or whose conduct affects the comfort, enjoyment, safety, or well-being of others will be disembarked at their own expense and banned from sailing on Carnival in the future. There it is, guys. The big threat at the end there. So yeah, it was a pretty mild letter, just a basic reminder of things, and I think it's kind of... Do you think this is stopping anybody? Do you think that if you were planning on smoking on your balcony or smoking ganja or doing whatever you were gonna do, that because Carnival handed you a letter as you walked on the ship, that you would stop from what you were gonna do? I'm thinking probably not. Maybe though, maybe it would make you think twice, and you're like, I don't want a $500 fine. So maybe it works. Just seems like they should have named the letter, do this and you're going to get banned, and I think it would have been more effective. But they were very nice that they politely asked these folks to follow the rules. Let's see here. Another shared... yeah, we don't need to talk about that. All right, that's enough of this. Let's move on to the next story. This is Carnival brand ambassador John Heald. He is given romance advice. This is kind of a sweet story here. A 72-year-old woman who lost her husband a few years back is looking for love. And she used to cruise with her husband. It was something they loved to do. I think they went on 10 cruises or 11 cruises together. And now she doesn't have anybody to cruise with. She's 72 and she said she doesn't have much of a social life. She's kind of lonely. She's looking for love. She's looking for companionship, someone to take a cruise with. So she wrote into brand ambassador John Heald, and he gave her a little tip for maybe meeting someone on the ship, and he is stepping in to make it even more possible. In that he said to this woman, excuse me, if you send me your room number, which I thought was weird at first. I was like, send me your room number. That seems a little forward. I don't know. But then it goes on to say, if you send me your room number, I will get in touch with, and the ship you're sailing on, I will get in touch with the main dining crew on that ship, and I will ask them personally to seat you with other singles on that cruise. So that's a good idea. I mean, get seated at a community table at main dining and maybe meet somebody that you can hit it off with. I think that's a good idea. You know, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be, right? Having somebody in your particular age group, the odds of that, I don't know if that's good or not, but I thought it was a nice gesture. So nice, John. Nice advice. And the bonus is a lot of other people chimed in and gave their own advice for this sweet lady that just wants to get back in the game and, start dating again. And they said, one person said that Facebook groups are a good place to meet other like-minded people and maybe, meet somebody in the right age group. And hey, actually meeting somebody in the right age group is probably on a cruise ship is probably, for an older person, probably a great place to go for it. Not that young people don't cruise, but there is a large percentage of older people on cruise ships, so it's not a bad idea. She also, or like I say, a commenter suggested she join the Facebook group for solo single cruises and get to know some people before the cruise happens and maybe hit it off with somebody that way. And I thought another piece of good advice that a commenter made was to meet people in the smoking section on cruises. Not being a smoker, I don't hang in the smoking section very often, but I do walk past it. And I noticed that everybody's hanging out talking. Like I say, I used to be a smoker. And it's like that when you're a smoker. It's a very social thing, whether it's on a cruise or not. If you're out having a cigarette in the smoking area and there's other smokers around, usually you end up, just kind of shooting the breeze. So great way to meet people that have common interests or not. And so this guy says, hey, even if you don't smoke, just go sit over by the smoking section. It's easy to get into a conversation with a smoker. They're happy to talk, and it's a very social thing. So if you don't mind that your potential love interest is a smoker, then I think that's a great piece of advice. It's an easy way to get into a conversation with somebody that you're interested in. So yeah, little bit of advice for how to find love on a cruise ship, even at age 72. Kind of a sweet story. I and many other people wish this lady success in finding someone to share her life with, and hopefully on a cruise ship so that she can keep cruising. Yeah, guys, that is going to wrap up the cruise news on June 1st, 2025. And yeah, it's kind of fun. Sorry for the technical difficulties. I'm still learning this stuff. But yeah, I'm going to hopefully see you guys again the next time there is cruise news to report. Until then, no matter what destination you choose, no matter what cruise line you choose, adventure awaits.